Silence and darkness in the tomb enveloped you, a marked contrast from the gauntlet you'd just put yourself through. A respite during these 3 days where history pivoted, with the rest of eternity laying beyond the stone. The last time that you would be alone. As you sat with lips full of praise, did you think back to last week? Those last couple of days? Did you reflect as the angels arrived to unveil the sunrise, on the victory won, anticipating smiles filling their eyes? Today, ecstatic faces would greet you with questions still present, torrents of questions, reflections, and feelings. Sleepless nights spent, disciples' minds would still be reeling. Did God wake you up on Good Friday and remind you to take a deep breath? That it was almost completed? That it'd be the hardest day they'd think you're defeated? That evil would take center stage and be on full display? That God had to stand aside and would stay above the fray? Sacrificing you to save his lost children led astray? That on that day he'd lower the bridge to the kingdom and open up the gates? Flipping the script the discarded resigned themselves to live with, not having the right traits? The least, the lost, the bruised, the rejected, their names now on the guest list. For the first time, it was they who were selected. The leaders could listen, but chose not to hear. The seekers couldn't believe it, that you were drawing them near. The teachers looked on, but only with disdain. The sinners and outcasts finally felt seen, that you knew their names. The lines were drawn, the battle was clear, the soldiers grasped on, gloating that your end was near. They pushed, kicked, and hit, excited to hurt, inflicting the pain, enjoying their work. Did you look at them through a glaze of blood covering your eyes, silently praying for them by name as they beat you and spouted their lies? Did you look in the crowd on the Via Dolorosa as you labored on the path, praying for those numb with fear and trauma bearing witness to the wrath? Did they later regret just standing and watching and not trying to intervene? Would they try to forget the scene? Or would they tell their children what they had seen when they got home? Did it instill in them conviction to let your name be known? Did chills run down your spine when the beatings began? Were you trying to focus your thoughts on the master's plan? With every crack of the whip, every rip of your flesh, was your resolve spurred on? Was it further entrenched? Every strike of the hammer, every pierce of each thorn was splitting our chains, erasing our scorn. You climbed on that tree without looking back. Excruciating pain, physically and emotionally attacked. When they saw your tears, they saw them as weakness and laughed. They enjoyed this. This was their craft. But your tears were of heartache and expected relief, not thinking of yourself, but of giving us peace. Did the heroes of faith watch and become very still? Did David think back to being a shepherd standing on a hill, watching and caring and sacrificing for his flock? When he saw them hurting you, did he long for his sling and a rock? Did Noah have flashbacks to when he stood alone and obeyed, neighbors jeering and mocking, not believing their fate if they stayed? The spiritual realm was watching, focused on all the details, the whips, the thorns, the cross, the blood, and the nails. Angels were somber, waiting for God to just say the word. But the only saving that happened was not for my Lord. You climbed on that tree so we could root ourselves in you, grafted into the vine, a chance to be renewed, chosen as royalty in a kingdom upside down from what the world had known. No longer imprisoned by sin, you freed us and made us your own. The power of your plan and process cannot be diminished. It had only begun when you said, "It is finished."